Here are two Mitsubishi Minicab trucks. Both have dead batteries. But on one, the battery is exactly where you'd expect it to be. On the other, it's hiding underneath the truck. And most people spend 10 minutes searching before they find it. Take a second. Where do you think it actually is? Here's the answer. It's under the truck bed toward the driver's side, mounted low on the chassis, visible from the side of the vehicle without opening anything at all. Crouch down, look under the bed from that side, and there. It is no cover panel to remove on most examples, no hidden compartment to search for. Here's why K-trucks are built this way. Japan's key vehicle regulations cap the overall length and width of the truck. Every centimeter you spend on mechanical components under a hood is a centimeter. You don't get to spend on cargo space. So engineers tuck the battery under the bed. Instead, keeping the cab short and the bed as long as regulations allow. It's the same design philosophy we've talked about with the He-Jet and carry a tiny footprint outside. Engineered to waste as little space as possible. Worth knowing if you're cross-shopping other K-trucks. This isn't unique to the Minicab. Older Daihatsu He-Jet trucks, built before 1994, had their batteries mounted. Exposed on the left side of the body, no cover at all. Later He-Jets added a black resin cover, but kept the same basic location, on the driver's side near the center of the bed. Different brand, same underlying logic. One naming trap to avoid here, and it matters more than you'd think. Everything I just described applies to the Minicab truck specifically. The Minicab van, a completely different vehicle, despite the shared name, hides its batteries somewhere else entirely under the cargo floor. In the rear, beneath, a carpet and a screwed-down access plate. If you're researching battery location, and you land on information about the van instead of the truck, you'll be looking in the wrong place entirely. Always double-check you're reading about the truck specifically. Now, if your battery is actually dead and you need to replace it today, here are the exact part numbers, cross-checked across two separate Japanese battery manufacturers' official fitment charts, so this isn't guesswork. The main U61T and U62T battery fitment period. From October 2004 through that February 2014 cutoff, we've talked about takes a 34B19L as standard equipment. If your truck came from a cold weather region, Mitsubishi spec'd a slightly larger 42B19L from the factory instead. And here's a clean confirmation of that, February 2014. Divide showing up yet again. The post-OEM switch truck, coded DS16T, takes a completely different battery. A 38B19R standard across most trim years. The one exception, if your DS16T has idling stop technology, it switches to something else entirely. A battery-coded K42R built specifically for the demands of a car that shuts its engine off and restarts it constantly in traffic. Either way, notice that original L became an R along the way. The terminal moved sides entirely. Links to both fitment charts are in the description. If you want to double-check your own truck, if you've got an older or less common minicab, and none of those numbers match, here's how to figure out what you actually need. Japanese batteries are labeled with an alphanumeric code that encodes the performance rank, terminal layout, and physical dimensions. A typical label looks something like 34B19L. The first number is a rough performance rating. The letter right after it, B, D, E, F, G, or H, in ascending order, tells you the combined depth and height of the case. The two digits after that give you the width in centimeters. And the final letter, L or R, tells you the terminal layout. Match all of that, and you've got the right physical fit and the right electrical layout. Even if the rest of the label is in Japanese, you can't read. But there's one thing I'd check before ordering a replacement, especially if you're buying a used minicab from overseas. Don't rely on the model code alone. Look at the battery that's actually installed in the truck first, if you can. K-trucks have had batteries replaced many times over their lives, and the battery currently fitted may not be the exact unit. The truck left the factory with. The label on the battery gives you a second layer of confirmation. And don't just check the number. Check the physical layout. Look at which side the terminals are on, where the hold-down bracket sits, and how the cables reach the posts. Two batteries can look almost identical in a photograph and still have the terminals on opposite sides. That's exactly the kind of mistake that's easy to make. When you're ordering from another country and can't simply walk back into the parts store with the old battery in your hand. There's another reason this matters on a key truck. Space is limited everywhere on these vehicles. including around the battery itself. A battery that is technically the same size, but has the wrong terminal arrangement, can turn a simple replacement into a problem with cable reach or installation clearance. So before you click Buy, compare the code, the terminal layout, and the physical mounting arrangement. If you're buying the truck before buying the battery, ask the seller for one simple thing: a clear photograph of the battery label. It takes the guesswork out of the equation. You can read the code yourself, compare it with the manufacturer's fitment information, and know what you're dealing with before the truck even arrives. For an overseas buyer, that's often the smarter approach. You're not just buying a battery. You're buying the certainty that the battery will actually fit the truck, sitting in your driveway thousands of miles away. Sourcing one from outside Japan is genuinely easier than it looks, too. There are import parts specialists in the U.S. who deal specifically in minicab parts across the whole model range, from the earliest U41T and U42T trucks through the U61T and U62T generation. We've focused on here, and there's an active English language community at Mini Truck Talk. Come with a dedicated Mitsubishi Minicab section, where owners have already worked through most of these exact battery questions. You're not the first person outside Japan trying to solve this. Worth knowing how long you've actually got before this becomes a problem in the first place. K-vehicle batteries typically last 2 to 3 years, shorter than a full-size car, mainly because key engines start and stop more frequently in typical use and short trips around town. Don't give the battery much chance to fully recharge between starts. Watch for the warning signs before it fails outright. The engine cranking noticeably slower than it used to. Headlights that seem dimmer at idle. Miss those signs, and the failure tends to be sudden one day. It starts fine, and the next it doesn't start at all. Jump-starting one works the same as most cars here. Standard procedure: red cable to the positive terminal, then to the donor vehicle's positive terminal. For the negative side, you can either connect directly to the battery's negative terminal or use a ground point on the body instead. On the minicab, the tailgate striker works fine for that. Either way is commonly done. Cost-wise, here's what to expect. A standard B19 class battery, the size this truck actually uses typically costs somewhere in the 5,000 to 8,000 yen range, including labor at a shop, occasionally running higher for a premium brand. If your truck has idling stop technology and needs that K42R battery instead, budget more. Those specialized batteries run 7,000 to 15,000 yen for the unit alone, since they're built to handle an engine that shuts off and restarts constantly in traffic. If you bring your own battery to a shop, like Autobacks, labor alone runs as little as 2,200 yen for a job that takes about 10 minutes. Doing it yourself is genuinely simple once you can actually see the battery, which, given everything we've covered about where it sits on this truck, you now can disconnect the negative terminal first, then the positive reverse order for the new one, positive first, then negative, and unbolt the retaining bracket in between. Most people manage the whole job in under 30 minutes on their first attempt. Now, remember what we covered in the last video? Any minicab truck built from February 2014 onward isn't actually a Mitsubishi engineering effort at all. It's a Suzuki Carry badge engineered. That means you shouldn't automatically assume the battery location is identical to the older Mitsubishi-built trucks we've been describing here. Check the Suzuki Carry-specific documentation for the exact location before you start searching. Here's the bigger picture, and it's worth remembering. Every time you find something unexpected on one of these trucks, nothing about key truck engineering is arbitrary. The battery isn't under the bed because someone couldn't be bothered to design a proper engine bay. It's under the bed because every centimeter of this truck was fought over decades ago in service of one goal: maximum cargo space inside a footprint, small enough to legally qualify as a key vehicle in the first place. Once you understand that constraint, almost every strange design choice on one of these trucks stops looking strange at all. If finding these kinds of practical real-world details useful is why you're watching, subscribing means you won't miss the next one. We've got plenty more of this kind of thing coming.